Shore woman reaches out to the Fox 8 Defenders for help, telling us she spent thousands of dollars on new windows from Lowe's home improvement store, but 8 months later, she still hasn't received all of what she paid for.
We discovered thousands of complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau against the company, and some consumers even complained to the Louisiana Attorney General. Here's our latest Fox 8 Defenders investigation.
Allison Chauvin hoped to spruce up her Covington home with new windows.
We wanted some soundproofing and a little bit of energy efficiency.
She went to this Lowe's store in March and says she found what she was looking for.
And the cost was right around $18,000.
14 windows to be delivered to her home in May. But today, 8 months later, 8 windows are correctly installed. The remaining 6.
We've had waves of windows sent to the house that are the wrong size, damaged, broken, poor workmanship.
Chauvin says she reached out to Lowe's and the installer, Trinity Exterior Group, numerous times over the past few months.
We coordinated with the store. The store pointed the finger at Trinity. Trinity pointed the finger at the manufacturer.
The owner of Trinity would not comment for this story. Chauvin says she could never get a clear answer on when the rest of the windows would be delivered to her house. Frustrated, she turned to the Better Business Bureau.
I filed a BBB complaint, and within a couple of days, I was contacted by Lowe's executive team.
We have a person on staff dedicated to working on Lowe's complaints. She is speaking to their executive team on a daily basis.
Tom Bartholomew is CEO of the Better Business Bureau in Charlotte, North Carolina, where Lowe's is headquartered.
What types of complaints are you seeing when it comes to Lowe's?
Kind of across the board, but what really changed as far as the number of complaints we were seeing on them was when they got into the basically contractor business a number of years ago. It's primarily problems with those third parties, that either the wrong product was brought or that the installers didn't do the job completely to the customer satisfaction.
Some of the thousands of Lowe's reviews we read on the BBB website complain about installation issues. On September 21st, Tom C. writes, started 2 kitchen cabinet installations through Lowe's. It's now been over 71 weeks since they started the installation, and neither kitchen is completed. Their subcontractor ghosted both myself and Lowe's for months. On November 2nd, someone with the initials JNM writes, awful contractors' accountability. They say they ordered a fence and fence installation services from Lowe's, commenting, when you ask Lowe's to help in resolving the issue, they tell you they have no control over their subs. Bartholomew says the BBB typically receives about 5,000 Lowe's complaints a year.
The majority of complaints that are filed through the BBB on Lowe's get resolved within 20 to 25 days. On average. If you want to get something done, if you want to get resolution, that's when people turn to us.
They don't want a Better Business Bureau rating, so they'll usually be responsive to that. And it's a good method of getting the attention.
Attorney Richard Leaf, who has previously served as an arbitrator in consumer cases filed against big box retailers, says while Lowe's is responsive to the Better Business Bureau, many people might not even know to take that route.
And for business purposes, you'd think they'd want to make people happy with it and make sure the product's there.
But the argument is, why should the consumer have to go to the BBB in order to get in touch with the company?
Well, they shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't.
For Allison Chauvin, she did hear from a Lowe's rep soon after filing her BBB complaint.
I will say that they responded, but they have not resolved. Just looking at the workmanship of the windows, there's gunk all over here. This is supposed to be only a 1/4 inch gap, and this is significantly wider than a 1/4 inch.
Lowe's isn't alone when it comes to complaints about third-party installers. Home Depot also sees thousands of negative reviews written about it yearly on the Better Business Bureau's website. A BBB spokesperson tells us the organization received 3,800 complaints about Home Depot so far this year. Some of those complaints concern installation projects. A Home Depot spokesperson says the company regularly screens and monitors third-party service providers, and if it sees a pattern of performance problems, it will terminate the relationship. For Allison Chauvin, the waiting game for her new windows continues.
They are preparing right now to send us our 4th set of windows. They finally, right now at month 9, they came back out and remeasured all of the windows, and their aha was, oh, these windows are the wrong size.
When the Fox 8 defenders reached out to Lowe's corporate about Chauvin's case, we were told 2 more windows will be sent to Chauvin's home this week. We were also sent a statement that says, quote, "We apologize for the inconvenience caused to Ms. Chauvin," and that Lowe's customer care team continues to work with our vendor partners to complete the window installation as soon as possible to her satisfaction. The spokesperson didn't respond to us about why the Better Business Bureau had to get involved.
They sold me a product, they took my money, they just need to come through on their contract and give me a decent looking window that I paid for.
The Louisiana Attorney General's office tells us 9 consumer complaints were filed this year against Lowe's, alleging issues such as faulty products, damaged delivery, failed delivery, pricing, and installation. If you've got a consumer complaint you'd like us to look into, call the Fox 8 Defenders, staffed with volunteers from the National Council of Jewish Women, or fill out our online complaint form.